Hey everyone! So, what if I told you that you could say pretty much anything you wanted in English using just 850 words? Sounds almost too simple, right? Well, today, we're going to find out that inside that simplicity is a whole universe of hidden complexity and some serious power. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the big idea, this 850-word language. Then we're going to zoom way in on just one of those words, light. We'll pull it apart as a noun, an adjective, and a verb, and then we'll zoom back out and figure out what this one little word can teach us about how language really works. Let's get into it.
Okay, so our story starts with this really cool idea called Basic English. It was basically a project to try and make communication around the world a whole lot easier.
And this is the magic number, 850. The entire vocabulary for Basic English was just 850 words. I mean, just think about that for a second. Could you really describe your entire day, your hopes, your job, with a toolkit that small? It just seems impossible, doesn't it?
So yeah, here's the official definition. The goal is fantastic. Create a version of English that anyone, anywhere could pick up quickly. And the method was pretty radical. Just strip the language down to its absolute core. But, as we're about to find out, core doesn't exactly mean simple.
To really put this whole idea of simple to the test, we are going to put one of these 850 words under the microscope. And our guinea pig for today is the word light.
And yep, just to confirm, the word light is absolutely on that list. It's considered one of the fundamental building blocks of the language. But how simple is it really? Let's find out.
First up, let's talk about light as a noun. This is probably how we think of it most of the time, right? It's the thing that lets us, well, see things.
Now here's where we hit our first layer of complexity. In its biggest, most scientific sense, light is what we call an uncountable noun. It's talking about the general energy, the concept itself. You can't have two lights in this sense, just like you can't have two waters. It's just light.
You've probably heard this line from the old folk song, and it's a perfect example. You don't dance by a light of the moon, you dance by the light of the moon, that big ambient glow that's all around you.
But wait a minute, the same word, light, can also be a countable noun. This is where it stops being some abstract energy and becomes a physical thing. A lamp, a light bulb, the flashlight on your phone. All of a sudden, our so-called simple noun has just split in two.
And this sentence just nails that second meaning, the lights of the city. Here we can actually count them. Each little pinprick is a light, a street light, a window, a car headlight. So already we have one word, one part of speech, with two totally different meanings and different grammar rules. Okay, but we're not done yet. Not even close. Light isn't just a thing, it's also how we describe things. When we use it as an adjective, a whole new world of meaning opens up.
And get this, it doesn't just have one meaning here either. It has at least three completely separate meanings. Think about it. It can mean color, like a light shade of green. It can mean weight, like a light box. And it can mean seriousness, like some light reading. Those three ideas have literally nothing to do with each other, but we use the exact same word for all of them.
And of course, grammatically, it behaves like you'd expect. You can have a lighter color, a lighter package, or the lightest conversation topic. So the grammar is consistent, but the ideas it's describing are all over the map.
So far, light can be a thing and it can be a description. But it can also be an action. Now we're getting to the verb form, where our simple little word actually goes and does something.
As a verb, we're talking about two main jobs. You can light a match, meaning you make it catch fire, or a lamp can light the room, meaning it illuminates the space. Again, they're kind of related, but they're definitely distinct actions. And this is where we find the craziest twist in the whole story.
Okay, look at this. This is the real kicker. The verb to light is both a regular verb and an irregular verb. You can say, she lighted the lanterns, and that's totally correct. But you can also say, she lit the lanterns, and that's also totally correct. This one basic word manages to be both the rule and the exception to the rule at the same time. How is that simple?
So, all of this brings us back to where we started. After digging into all this crazy complexity packed into one word, we've got to revisit that original idea of basic English and ask a new question. And here it is. This is the big takeaway. The words on the basic English list aren't powerful because they're simple. They're powerful because they are incredibly efficient. They're like the Swiss Army knives of the English language. Each one was chosen because it can do the job of a dozen other more specific words.
I mean, let's just recap what we found. One single word, light. It can act as 3 different parts of speech. Across those, we found at least 7 completely different meanings. And we haven't even mentioned the fact that it's both a regular and an irregular verb. That is an insane amount of heavy lifting for one little 4-letter word.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Maybe the most basic parts of a language are actually the most complex and the most powerful. They're the foundation that everything else is built on. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What other words you use every single day without a second thought, words like set or run or go, are hiding their own little universe of meaning, just waiting for you to notice.